I'm Dan Drake. This is Front Up on GinoTV.com and Channel 99. With us this morning is the indescribable John McLaughlin. There's no way to put a particular tag on what you do, John. But you know, you've been on the planning board for many years. You've been on the HDC for many years. You've been the lord of the take it or leave it for gosh knows how long. But you've also done a couple of other things that not too many people are aware of, and that's what we want to talk about today mostly.
Okay, fine.
You have done, I have three here somewhere. One of them is called Stories, Miscellaneous Memories, Episodes and Bygone Characters of Old Nantucket, that you published in 2003. You've got Nantucket Evolution, which is the most charming history of Nantucket that I think I've ever read. It came out sometime. It doesn't have a date on it, but that's all right.
It's coming out. It
hasn't
hadn't hit the stand yet.
Okay, good.
But the first one has.
Well, I hope so. 2003.
Well,
Nantucket Door Knockers. And these are great photographs of some of the particular door knockers on the island. How did you come by this? What made you start the first book?
Well, the first one, the front page is a basic copy of that was done in 2003, but I've added stories to it since then. That came out this year.
Okay,
and
this is the latest. You should may I suggest that you put down updated or something on it so that people know that?
They're out already. They're in both bookstores. So if anybody wants to know about the history of Nantucket from 1645 to 1975, there's a lot of excerpts in there of what's happened over the years.
But the stories and memories. What's your favorite all-time Nantucket story?
My favorite old-time Nantucket story? Well, it wasn't that old, but it's a comical one. It's just in the book. One day I was sitting down on the bench on Main Street in front of the drugstore, and John Lotman had a black lab. And I was sitting there, and there's a guy on my left reading the paper, and he comes up, he said, pleasantries, he tied the dog, he said, I'm going to get my coffee. So I'm sitting there just watching the pass. The guy comes walking by, and he says, your dog bite? No. So he leaned down like that, and the dog, give him a growl, you know. God, the guy, so you said your dog don't bite? I says, it's not my dog. one of the little quick stories that happen around the island that I remember, you know. I spent a lot of my youth with my father and going different places, different organizations, to hear the old timers talking. And over the years, I write down a lot of those stories, and I have them in there. And in the back of it, the last two pages, a couple of years, maybe 10 years ago, I put in a newspaper list of all the nicknames I could think of for this island. Everybody's nickname, just about, except one I forgot.
That's the list?
That's the page there, right. Those are all the nicknames there are, and it's on, you go, oh, there's so many. Wiggles, Jalopy, so many different Nantucket people that are in there, and people have been here summers that have nicknames, you know, in the yacht clubs, whatever, you know. It's they're very interesting stories that hasn't been out yet. This one has, the other books.
Other than your father, of all the Nantucket characters, and I don't mean to imply he was a character, but he was a bit of a character, I think. Who are your favorites?
Characters?
Who had characters, and who had the most effect on you?
Well, the ones you get kicks out of, I find them nice people. Dan Drake.
Wow.
Gino Gang, you know. There's, you get a lot of stories out of Buddy Mooney, you know, which is nice, you know. We miss a lot of stories you could get, but we miss Bill Greeter and Bill Haddon, you know. They were the characters to themselves, you know. You had Brownie, you had Steve Ryder, you know, different ones. There's quite a few characters we've had here, you know.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a young kid working at Hardee's, there was Norman McLeave and Eddie Ray.
Oh, yeah, right. Eddie Ray.
Who both lived out in Nantucket. At least Eddie did in the summer. I can't remember what he did in the winter, but Norman did. And they were a pair.
Yeah. Well, there's so many characters. You take them as they come, you know. That you just remember people. I do. Thank God at my age I still got a memory box that's working, you know. So, but yeah, it's just like the bench on Main Street, you know. They got all those names on there, you know.
Right.
They got John McLaughlin, yeah. They give me a nickname.
They don't have Dan Drake or Gino Gang there yet.
We're working on it.
No, you're not.
They put me down as Mr. Information, you know. But I love the island. I know I never forget anything about it that I've learned over the years, you know. I can tell a lot of stories, some of them in the books.
Yeah. What about the history book that's just coming out now, Nantucket Evolution?
Now that's out now, yes.
It is out now as well.
That's the story of when it first started, Gosnell, you know, and when he went to the vineyard, and from Mr. Gosnell right on through over the years, different changes in the island itself with the political things, you know, things have changed, how it built up over the years, how evolution of people moving here, and right up to 1975, and that's when I done a cutoff on it. And there might be more, you know, from 75 to
some few things have happened since then, right? Since 75?
75, yeah. 18 or 19.
Both. Just looking in here, the telegraph cable, the first telegraph cable was in 1886, installed by the government for the use of the Weather Bureau. The Weather Bureau being apparently located at the Pacific Club. And in order to get the information, they had to have a telegraph cable. So the government installed one, and that was the first one. Then wireless came along, and not the wireless we look at today for our computers, but wireless radio came along in 1901 with the wireless station. It was in Sconset, wasn't it?
Marconi, yeah.
Yeah, it was established installed by Marconi, but interestingly, put up by the New York Herald, so that it could get a scoop on the news from Europe.
Yeah, right.
Very interesting. I'm gonna have to read this in greater detail.
It's a lot of reading for me on my behalf to get the information. You know, there's a lot to it. But
and then here, the Obed Starbuck, who built the ship's inn, was credited, you say, with the shortest and most successful whale voyage of the 19th century. He had 10 black men in his crew. What is short in that case? Do you remember?
What was what?
What is short in that case? You say it was the shortest and most successful. Was it a year? Was it a year and a half?
I think maybe just after. I think over a year, if I read it right.
Just over a year. Yeah.
They hit it right, and they kept having whale every day, whale. So they filled up.
Did they do it in the Atlantic or in the Pacific?
I think in the Pacific.
Yeah, but that's pretty quick for a trip out there and back. There are several of you who hold court on Main Street. What do you talk about when you're not listening to other people?
Well, every night, you know, spring through fall, we started a couple of weeks back, and then it got a little chilly. But around 6 o'clock, we'd sit in front of the bank, and different people go by that we haven't seen, you know, through the winter, and we talk. And there's about 7 or 8 of us that sit there and just shoot the breeze and what's new and internationally, and as well as on Nantucket. And what's happening around the island here, how much money the town is spending. There's all kinds of subjects going on. Everybody brings up something. You know, we enjoy it. It's a nice thing there, you know.
You've seen a lot of changes, obviously, in your lifetime on the island. Is it better or worse?
Well, it's a two-way street. The best part is that Nantucket over the years, I remember from the late 30s on till now, that it was down. Nantucket was down, you know, and a lot of people didn't have money to repair their houses, and some of them, you know, not discrepant, but they would needed fixing up, you know, and you just couldn't do it. Over the years, the money has moved here, and the best part, the money that moved here has updated everything and brought it up, we'll say, to code and everything else. That's nice, you know. But the other part of it is that there's so much money moving here, it's bought up the island, and it's what, 52% unbuildable right now.
Right.
But the subdivisions are still coming in, and I've been on the HTC, I think this is my 44th year starting, and I've seen the changes architecturally from the old to the new. And you got the trophy houses, they're all built out in the hills, so thank God people don't see so many of them. They got their own period style, but there's very little change in them. You can tell the trophy house just by looking. And the old Nantucket houses were basically, the old ones were 30 by 30 boxes, and they had wings on the side, extensions in the back end, And you get down Union Street, Orange Street, Main, Pine. They're basically in the same. They're harmonious to each other. That's the thing, you know. But the trophy houses, they got too much configurations going on. But you know, I'm not paying for it, so I have to.
Well, as you know, I haven't always been kind in my comments about the HDC. But when you go to a place like Bar Harbor or someplace in Maine, and you go out through the islands there on a boat, and you see the disparate and really unattractive architecture.
Yeah.
I think that the whole purpose of the Historic District Act and so forth has really, and the work that many of you on the commission have done has really kept Nantucket, you know, very attractive. The trophy houses notwithstanding. I mean, even the trophy houses fit in a way. They don't stick out like sore thumbs, as they do in some other places. So I think you get a lot of kudos for that, and it's good. You said you had a question you wanted to ask me.
Yes, you've been around for years, and you know, and your folks out there, and Nantucket there, or Nantucket, whatever you want to call it.
Whatever.
We call it
Badlands.
yeah.